Good evening. Welcome to the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Well, 11th went off very well, with President Donald J. Trump going to the Arlington National Cemetery to lay the wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier. Um, there was something that was occurring there during that ceremony, and I don't know if anybody else recognized it, but I recognize it because I am a descendant of the Jewish people. A descendant from the tribe of Judah, so I am a descendant through the Karaite Jews and Africa. So what I noticed, and a lot of people didn't notice this, and I watched this, as President Trump did the bowing, as the Jews, Orthodox Jews, normally do before the Wailing Wall. They stand before the Wailing Wall and they do this motion like this. If you watch the president in the video, we'll show the video right now, hopefully, and you will see him. If you watch him, he's doing that. When he's doing this, he's doing what he did. He even did it at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. Then what they do is they put their hand on, they put a prayer request in the wall. So this is exactly what President Trump was doing. I could see it. He was doing it very slightly because you know how the media is. If they come up on something like that, they're going to say, well, this, that, and the other. But I noticed it. And I'm very sure, watching him in his movement, that he was doing the same thing that Jews do before the Wailing Wall when they leave their prayers there. This country looks at our country, the people in this country, we desire a legitimate election. We desire a legitimacy in our election. If it was up to me, I would just wipe everything clean and say, we're going to have everything out, go back out, vote, go to the polls and vote, no restriction, wear your mask, whatever. But we need to get this vote done. But we are doing the next best thing. The legal votes, the votes that are proven legal, and we want to process those votes that are clearly correct votes with signed ballots, and those are absentee, especially because that's where the problem came up with these absentee ballots that came in after the election took place. So it's not clear that everything was received properly on time, and we have these people calling anything that challenges this presidential election, the media, which jumped the gun in the first place, especially Fox News, they jumped the gun, and now everybody's calling it misinformation when you refute the president-elect Biden. Because, see, what it is when they're all on board with this, and I believe there's threats and innuendos that are out there that's causing these people like Twitter, Facebook now, everything, they're putting up these AP statements saying that you go to this thing to see that the election actually has been. No, it's not. It's not complete. Matter of fact, the states don't actually report even until December. So why are we jumping to the gun? They did this mess back when Al Gore ran for president. And what happened? After 37 days, they discovered he did not win. But the Democrats are always throwing out the ahead of time Hail Mary, hoping that it'll go, pardon the pun, hoping it'll go into the end zone and they can skate their way in. But I'm sorry, guys, it's not going to work this time. You have President Trump, he's trying to clean up the swamp, and he's busy, and he's going to get it done. Georgia, great Georgia. Congratulations to Georgia for saying, okay, let's go ahead and just recount everything, count it by hand, count the ballots over again. And then Arizona is showing that Biden's lead is shrinking down, even in Arizona, when he had already proclaimed the victory on Fox News before everything was in. Now, in face of others, like I said, social media is tagging everybody with this AP post thing. They need to stop it. Facebook, Twitter, all these places need to stop it. We have the right, I believe, in free speech, and if you want to continue to operate as a freedom organization and not a publisher being judged and having to pay the taxes and everything as a publisher, you need to back off. When I post something, I don't want somebody putting up, because I'm a conservative, I don't want you putting some stuff up talking about it's not official, it's a misinformation. Give me a break. Stop it. And I put it on there. If you keep it up, I'm going to keep telling people as I come across these airways about your behaviors. You can block me on Facebook if you want, but I have other media outlets that I have, as well as other places like Newsmax and all these other places that have other outlets. The people are going to know what you're doing. You need to stop it. Stop these fact checks and everything else. If somebody believes what we are saying, great. If they don't, they can watch TV, because they're lying their butts off on mainstream media, telling all kinds of lies, talking about Joe Biden's the president-elect. No, he's not the president-elect, because a lot of the states weren't even called when they stated that. 5 of the states were not called, and 5 of the largest states, the swing states, where they kept complaining about. And everybody needs to know, once again, the Democrat Party had tried to put their lawyers in to get on us about raising up law questions. They were trying to get election rules changed in several states, maybe 50, 60, maybe about 30 or 40 states. They were trying to get election rules changed. They were trying to have harvesting of ballots. I told you about this on last night's program. They were trying to get all these things done so that they could fix the election with no problem. But we know the Democrat Party don't care. If you don't agree with them, they will illegally make the move anyway. Then they'll try to cover it up. They know we're going to find out, but they say, hey, we can get out, because they know the fact in psychology. If you tell somebody something 3 times, they start to believe it's the truth. But if you're going to believe a lie, the only thing left is the truth. If you believe a lie, there's a truth in it. So if somebody comes to you with the truth, like President Trump is, and all the people are telling you their irregularities, these people are not in our pocket. We're not paying them, or as a Republican Party, we're not paying them. They are themselves coming to us, the president, and these people are not Republican, Democrat, whatever they are. They're not coming in that ring. They're coming because there were irregularities at several states in their polls and their counting of the ballots. Anyway, we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back with you in a moment here on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. We're not going to be long tonight. God bless. Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network. As the days go on, more signed affidavits are being found by whistleblowers, and they are being released. And these people are actual real people, real citizens of the United States of America. Now, Kayleigh McEnany showed this at the press conference, and they're calling her misinformation. Give me a break. She gathered the information. She brought it out. They say you want proof. They're trying to say there's no proof. Yes, there is proof, Democrat Party. There's proof, media. There's proof, post office, who've been accused and actually proven to thrown mail into the trash can. Now, there was something significantly found here in Harris County area of Houston, what I thought was very interesting. They found a mail person had threw buckets of mail into the dumpster. But when they pulled it out, they found some ballots. They're not going to tell you how many ballots they found, because we, unfortunately, are in a Democrat-run city. So they pulled the ballots out, but they did point out something. And I don't know if anybody that saw this report noticed this. They had ballots, people from Houston that no longer lived in the states like Louisiana and California, mailing their ballots from where they're at here in this state. They don't even live in the areas anymore. Yet they're voting for those particular candidates in that area. Now, it's kind of interesting because those 2 votes, if I heard correctly, well, I'm not saying that President Trump had nothing to do with this, but those 2 votes were votes for President Trump. I don't know why they were thrown in there because of that, or they just pulled them from somewhere and just threw them in there. Now, that's illegal anyway, regardless of who it's for. But the thing we need to do is understand that these things, of course, have been going on for years, didn't just start happening. There have been irregularities in voting for years, for as long as I can remember. But this mess that's going on right now is extreme, people. It's extreme. These irregularities go across the board. The Democrat Party has proven that they're trying to change electoral rules. They've proven it. They're trying to get rid of the Electoral College. Why would they try to get rid of the Electoral College? Hey, Biden just won, supposedly, right? So why are they concerned about the Electoral College? Because they know it's a lie, what they're trying to perpetrate on the American people. A young man recently, I didn't get the man's name, but a young man recently was reported he was talking to the press in regarding some irregularity. They crucified that poor young man in the media. He worked in one of the polls and he came out and he said something about it, and they crucified him because he said something against Joe Biden. He said no, he saw them lying on the votes. He saw them counting ballots that were illegitimate, ballots that had no dates, actually had no signatures, just had checks, marks, and these things like this. People telling people to mark. I heard story, and we're going to see this. This is all going to come out, Democrats. Forget it. You're not going to be able to hide it. It's coming out. And I think some heads should roll, as I said earlier. I think some criminal charges need to be filed against individuals in the Democrat Party. This system, Dominion, which that deals with the voting and all these different things like that. Also, one system was owned by Hillary Clinton's family, and the other system is owned by Nancy Pelosi. So that tells you right there, they got their hand in the pot. There's something else. Why is all the mail going in the trash? Has anybody heard these stories? I'm looking around, and during the season, ballots thrown in the trash by mail workers. The postal unions endorsed Joe Biden. This is very suspicious, people. I think some heads should roll. The Inspector General, one man's been arrested already for storing up mail in his darn garage or storage building. Mail should have went to people. So this tells you what the post office is dealing with. Now, on the top, President Trump replaced the head of the postal organization, and they attacked him. The post office himself attacked him. The people are lying on the man, saying all kinds of stuff about him because they knew he was appointed by President Trump and he was going to do the right thing. So this is what they attack people. They attack you when you're doing the right thing. We're going to take a short break right now. You're watching The Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Welcome back. You're watching The Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Once again, I told you back years ago, they had Al Gore and he ran for president. I remember the whole thing, how they was just telling, oh, this guy, he did it, he won, and found out the whole thing was a farce. There was some illegalities back then as well, voter tampering, election tampering. And now we see now, here we go again. And have you ever noticed it's the Democrat Party that's doing this? Have you ever noticed that it's the Democrat Party candidate that all of a sudden seems to be in front or overall with no backup for it? Did anybody see the polls back in 2016 when they said that Hillary Clinton had 90-some% of the vote and Donald J. Trump only had a few, maybe 3% of the vote. So what did it turn out to be? President Donald J. Trump ended up with, I think, around 279 electoral votes, which seems kind of strange since they're using that number also with Joe Biden. But I think he even exceeded that. I think he ended up with like 306 after it was all said and done. But let me tell you something. This crookedness has got to stop. President Trump knew exactly that this thing was going to happen. This is part of the swamp cleansing. It's taking it all the way to the end of the term. He realized this battle was coming. That's why you're not hearing much from him, because he knew the battle was coming. The legal teams are ready, because this part of the swamp is the final part. He had to dig deep down into the swamp, get those dirty members of the swamp out of there. The Postal Service, the social media people, the media themselves, the Washington Post, the New York Times, all these crooked media people that report lies on top of lies constantly. I listened to a report recently that Ted Koppel said that this is ridiculous. And when he was coming up, people did the news. Now all we have is partisan politics being played out in the media. That is exactly what we have. We don't have fake news. We have political news journalists, people that are trying to be commentators like me. I can say stuff. I'm a commentator. You can agree with me you want or not. But if you're a journalist and you're coming out supposedly reporting the truth, you better report the truth. Because if you don't, they're going to come out and you say, hey, you didn't do that right. You know, but I'm a commentator. I'm talking on what I've seen, what I've heard, the truths that I've heard, one thing, because this is CTM News, the voice of truth. Well, we're going to go ahead and close right now. As the days go by, as I said earlier, more affidavits are being signed. Now, Joe Biden himself, in an early interview on Fox News with Chris Wallace, to me, I call Chris Wallace the CNN reporter, although he's with Fox News. He's always been far left to me, the way he reports. His father would be ashamed of the way he reports, I believe. He would be ashamed. But Chris Wallace, he would not accept, this is what Biden said, I will not accept the leader to be announced as president-elect until all the votes are counted legally and things is the way they're supposed to be. He's not going to accept it. Then what happens? A few weeks later, he's accepting that he's elected when there's controversy all over the place. People, this thing is getting big and it's getting ugly. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get uglier. Well, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Black Conservative Voice. Be looking out. We have a program coming up soon where we're going to have a meeting. We're going to actually have a discussion on air with a young lady from California. We'll talk about that, and we'll see that coming up here on CTM News on this coming Saturday. Well, I want to thank you for joining us here. I pray that you have a wonderful evening, and I want to say to you what I always like to say. And also I want to say thank you, veterans, for your service. Thank you for your service to our country. Some are twisted, and this to me is a disgusting thing, but a lot of phony people have tried to claim that they were in the military to do certain things. Some were not even in the military. Like, what was the guy's name? John Kerry. And people saying they did this, did that. And then we find out they didn't do anything they said they had done. So, but we appreciate our military. As a Republican, I know we appreciate our military. We appreciate our law enforcement people. We appreciate our leadership. Those who God has appointed, regardless of whether you like them or not, God's appointed them. Even if Joe Biden wins and it turns out he's the one, God is still in control. I want to let all my Christian brothers and sisters know that. God is still in control. And I want to end by saying this. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless the world. Until next time, I'll see you Monday night here on the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert. This is David Colbert once again saying good night and God bless.